Hey everyone, it's Chainsaw Gears 12 here, and today I'm finally giving you guys my top 10 metal albums of 2012, or as I'm probably naming it, top 10 albums of 2012, because that's all I review is metal. So here's the list, and if you want to know my honorable mentions, I'm not going to make a separate video, it's too late now, so just watch till after I finish off the top 10 list, which I won't try to take that long, and you'll see some of the ones that almost made it but didn't quite make my top 10 list of 2012. So I'm starting off with number 10 with August Burns' Red, Sledding Hill. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Why is a cover album of Christmas songs from a metal band on here? Well, I want to give these guys some credit because they took the typical Christmas songs that we're tired of hearing every single year, starting from the end of October after Halloween's over to basically the lighting just happened. To like January of Christmas songs. So they took the idea and made it metal. So I have to give them some credit for that. And it turned out to be a very, very, very good metal album. So I had to give them credit. Number 9, I'm going to go with As LA Dying Awakened. The reason why I'm choosing this album is because a lot of people gave this band criticism saying that it just didn't feel right, or it's like you guys are just staying the same. For my opinion, I felt like this was a great album because it really showed what As LA Dying is known for, and they're continuing to put out these really great albums. So, I mean, I just don't see where the hate's coming from, but that's just me. But they get the number 9 spot. Number 8, I'm going to get a lot of crap for this probably. All That Remains, A War You Cannot Win. Now, I didn't put it lower so I don't get that much hate, but I feel like that this album was different a little bit, but it still had the core things of what I enjoyed from All That Remains, which was the singing aspect, the solos, the harmony that they put into their music, just the unique sound that All That Remains has. And a lot of people just basically didn't like the kind of direction they kind of went with this album, but I enjoyed it because, to me, it really didn't change all that much. Like, we've heard this kind of stuff on past albums, so I don't know or see how people are doing this and blah, 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 but like I said, I enjoyed it. Number 7, The Faceless Autothesium. I felt like this album was a great step forward for The Faceless because on Planetary Duality they had a great sound and they had a lot of progressive style and a lot of technical stuff, but I felt like this kind of had that same aspect, that same element, but it added another element to it, a lot more slower, cleaner stuff, a lot more just more harmony stuff. Like, they basically took what Planetary Duality, what made that album great, and then added an extra layer of stuff that really just made the album shine. So that's what I had to go with, was The Faceless Autothesium. Number 6, Death Clock, Death Album 3. I really enjoyed this album because it had a lot of humor, it had a lot of just funny moments, it had a lot of really crazy metal moments, it had a lot of just great solo bits, just a lot of great music from Death Clock, and I feel like this is just a great way to basically make this the trilogy, the third one in the Death Album series. So here's for Death Album 4. Hopefully it will live up to what Death Album 3 was, which was a great album from Death Clock. Now, here we go. Number 5, Sylosis Monolith. Sylosis Monolith. I love this band because I didn't know about this band until this album, because I was just searching through and just saw this. I'm like, what is this? And then I just like started listening and hearing about the thrash and what I really love, like in thrash metal, in this band, in this album. And my God, this album just blows my mind. It's just so powerful, so thrash. It's just so heavy. I really love this album. It made me discover a amazing band. So I recommend you have to go check out this album. It is just mind blowing. Number 4, I actually was going to have this as number 3, but I decided to move it down you'll see why in a few minutes when we get to the top 3. I chose number 4 to be Whitechapel self-titled album, Whitechapel. Now, I love what Whitechapel did with this album because on past releases like This Is Exile and A New Era of Corruption, they had the basic idea of the deathcore sound, the basic getting more into like death metal type stuff. But this album had another layer of piano bits. They had an instrumental finally, because in the New Era of Corruption there was no instrumental. And I just really loved the sound and basically what the band was doing, and you can understand the lyrics better. The guitar tone was more crisp and clear. It wasn't really like crunchy and stuff. It was actually more audible to hear what notes they're playing. I just really enjoyed what Whitechapel did with this album, and here's the hope that the next Whitechapel album will be even better and move forward to seeing what Whitechapel can do and what they can pull out in their musical field, what they can possibly do next. Because this album blew my mind comparing it to the past stuff. The past stuff's good, but I feel like this is a big step forward, a great step forward for Whitechapel. Number 3, I'm going to have to go with Serge Tankian. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm probably wrong because I got a comment on the review. Harakiri. What I really love is the fact that this album sounds like a lot like System of a Down, which that's kind of like what Serge does. But what I found funny is that this album, he said this album didn't take a lot of time to put out. It didn't take a lot of time to record and write and everything. It just kind of just happened. And I love that because hearing it, it sounds like the music took some time to create because it's so varied. There's a lot of different stuff that's going on in this album. So I was just blown away that this album sounding so much stuff's going on that it took so little time to write. But I love what Serge does vocally. I love what the band's doing. I just love a lot of things that makes this album great. Harakiri is a great album from Serge. It proves once again that even though System of a Down's a great band, Serge solo, it's basically, I think it's kind of matching up. It's getting up there pretty close to System of a Down's discography as Serge's solo work. So Harakiri really blew my mind. Now, 2 and number 1, we're switching off back and forth. I kept saying that my number 2, which I have officially, it's number 2, not number 1. I was saying that number 2 is going to be number 1, number 1 was going to be number 2, but I decided to flip it. So here it is. Officially, I made the decision. Number 2 is Between the Buried and Me, the Parallax 2. I kept saying it was going to be my number 1 in live streams if you saw me in live streams, but I decided the Parallax 2 is going to be number 2. This album just blew my mind because of a lot of different elements. If you saw my review, I gave it so much praise, and I still do to this day. It's just a great, amazing album. It's a great way to basically sum up the story from the Parallax Hypersleep Dialogues, which was a part 1 of the story, and I think that this is a great way to sum up part 2. So I just have to give great praise to the band, and I'm hoping to see what they can do next, but I decided that this album's number 2. It's just amazing progressive metal album. You can hate on it all you want if you want, but I love this album. And number 1, I decided, after thinking about it a long time, I decided that my number 1 of 2012 is going to be Woods of Ypres, Woods 5, Gray Skies, and Electric Lights. It just has to be up there, not because David Gold passed away, that it's a sad loss and rest in peace to him. Don't get me wrong. But I chose it not because of his death, but because of the music quality that is behind this record. It is so powerful. It is a lot of emotions. There's so much, just like feelings that went into this album. There's a lot of, progressive stuff, like not progressive metal, but a lot of change, a lot of different, styles that went into this album. And David Gold's vocal style and the way that he sings these words and the way he speaks the words and the way he, screams the words in some spots on this album is very powerful. And just everything all together in that album, like the music quality of it, the lyrical, the vocal work, the guitar work, bass, drums, everything that's on this album came together in a perfect mixture and basically combined and made what it is, Woods 5, Gray Skies, and Electric Lights. So I have to give it up for Woods of Ypres for doing this amazing album, and rest in peace to David Gold. But this album is my top number 1 album of 2012. So that is my top 10, and here is the honorable mentions. I'm just going to run through them, and so you guys know what would have made it but didn't make it. So I would have to go with, I would have said Testament, Dark Roots of Earth. It originally was in here, but the more I thought about it, Sylosis Monolith had to be in there, so I took Testament, Dark Roots of Earth out. But Testament, Dark Roots of Earth would have made it. It was a great thrash album, a great thrash album from a great thrash band, so don't get me wrong, but it was in there at one point. I would have said Job for a Cowboy, Demonocracy, but I decided to pull back because I feel like the albums I did choose were there for a purpose. And even though, yeah, I did review Job for a Cowboy, Demonocracy a few days ago compared to if you're watching this on the day it's being released, this video. But I just decided that, Job for a Cowboy, Demonocracy was a great album, but not not really that great to be in my top 10. There's 2 albums I haven't reviewed, but I wanted to review them, but sadly I couldn't get to them in time. I'm going to quickly run through them. Spawn of Possession and Curso, a great technical metal album, and another album from a band called Hour of Penance. Not Hour of Penance, but the word hour, like 1 hour of penance, called Ascension, I think. Sedation. It's one of those 2. I'm sorry, I can't think on top of my head because I'm kind of just winging this because I didn't write it down. But those 2 reviews are going to come out at some point. But that's my top 10 metal albums of 2012, guys. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys soon with the Happy New Year video, which will come out tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching 2012, and here's to a good 2013, blah, blah, blah. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys soon.